everyone. Welcome to Big Bite Baits. I'm sorry we didn't get to do a show with y'all last week. My man Jordan was up in Minnesota at our company's writers conference, and I had that go. Jordan, was that a good experience?
Oh yeah, we got a lot of new videos coming. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, great. Well, he had some time to spend with some of our pros, and they got to talk about some of our baits. And I know it was a good time. I've been to that and did a little fishing on the side, maybe just a little bit.
Oh yeah,
had a good time. So anyway, we're glad to have him back. Anyway, so we can get our show on there, because without our producer, the show don't seem to go on. So anyway, so we're back today. I'm gonna do a show today I call The Forgotten Craws, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But before we do, I want to give us our usual plug on the clothing. I thought it falls right around the corner, and I just wanted to show everyone our hoodies that we offer. And we by the way, have these full in stock, ready for the cooler temperatures that'll be here shortly. But we have the charcoal hoodie, and we have the red hoodie that are both made out. They're just 100% cotton. And then we have the microfiber hoodie, what we call the mineral hoodie, which is black with the sleeves that have the print on the sides of them. So that's the three choices we have currently on our hoodies that you can possibly buy. I think we're working on a couple other things right now for the fall, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so if you want something that's kind of warm, if you're a hoodie guy and like wearing those, I highly recommend these, and you can get them on our website. They're available at bigbitebaits.com, obviously. So that's something to think about. So on to our show. Did you have a couple questions, by the way? I forgot about those. How about, we got anything lingering on before I get started?
Sure, let's see. I have a question from Joel Fishing is wondering, what is our most sold bait?
The trick stick, by far. We sell just tons of trick sticks. That's just a bait that I think almost all bass fishermen use in some form or variety or some capacity. So yes, our trick stick is our number one seller, and I'd say it'd be very hard to supplant that. We'd have to come up with something pretty neat.
All right. Here's another unique question that we got. What sets us apart from the rest?
Wow, that's a good question. Now, that takes a little thought process, but I think I got a good answer for that. Number one, our baits are infused with bite juice. Now, the difference is a lot of companies just squirt the juice in the bag. Ours is made into our baits as we make them, as we cook them. And it's a special design flavor. It's not the old anise, or it's not a shad or a craw. It's a mixture of a lot of different things that we infuse in that bait. So not only do we infuse it in the bait, then we put a little bit in the bag as well. So they get a kind of a double helping of the sauce, as the old saying would go. So that's my answer. The other answer I would have for that is we have 2 or 3 unique colors that our competitors don't necessarily offer. The tilapia color was one that we started. It's been real good to us. And then the hematoma. Our hematoma looks a little different than everybody else's. So that's the two ways I would probably tackle and answer that question.
All right, that's it for right now. We'll see.
All right, well, good. Well, let's talk about the forgotten craws. So, we're always talking about fighting frogs and BFEs and all these other types of craw baits. The kamikaze craw. But I think we have 2 baits that do a really good job that we don't talk about a lot. One of them is the swimming craw, which has been around quite a long time, and the other one is the college craw. And both of these are unique craw baits, and they both have their role. And I think they're both in your arsenal. You need to have these for certain times. And you can use these in a lot of different ways. We're going to kind of talk a little bit about that. But let's just talk about each bait real quickly. The college craw, it comes in 2 sizes. We have the 4-inch, and then we have a 3.5-inch, and it comes in 9 different colors. So it doesn't have a ton. We don't have a ton of colors in it, but the colors that we have are very good fish catching colors. And then the swimming craw comes in 16 colors and is a 3-inch craw. And one of the things I really like about our swimming craw is it has an open pocket in it right here, and you can kind of hear it, and you can slide a rattle in that and make it even a better bait. I do that a lot when I fish it, and it works really well. Another unusual thing about this particular bait is you can put a really light lead on it and throw it on the top, and it'll gurgle like a toad. So you can catch fish on it that way as well. So there's a lot of different ways to use it. But what I tried to do today was rig up several ways I would recommend using these. Obviously, you can use them as an individual bait. You can use them in a Texas rig, as I've got right here. I've got a college craw rigged up on a Texas rig with a 3/16. You can pitch it against grass or on the banks and catch fish that way, especially in the spring of the year. It works real well. That happens to be a 4-inch in the hematoma color. That works real nicely, and you can do basically the same thing with the swimming craw. I already mentioned on the swimming craw, you could use it as a topwater bait. Okay, other ways that I would use the bait primarily, I would use them as trailers of all different varieties. Obviously here I've got a swimming craw behind a swim jig. Works real nice. It's got a real nice flapping action. We have enough colors that you can kind of match it up to your jig if you like to, and it works real good. It has lots of action. So that's one way that you can use a swimming craw is on a swim jig. Okay? Another way that you can use a swimming craw is a good old school way on the football jig. Fish it deep. I've got it here on a black and blue, and it works really well this way. It has just a nice subtle action on the back of your jig, and it works really well. Okay, then you look at the college craw. Another way to use it, I put the 3.5 college craw on the back of a bitsy jig, a small finesse jig. And I know that works really well. And that's a way, if you're going to downsize, you can downsize your craw to match your jig. Now, you can mix or match. You can put the college craw on the back of this swim jig just as well as you can put the college craw on the back of this football head and vice versa. So, excuse me, those are some of the ways that I would use the baits, in fishing them. And most of the time I'd use this type of bait in some type of power type situation, either flipping it, pitching it, casting it, or on the back, like I said, as a trailer. And I think it works real well. So next time you go to shop at the store and you don't want to go the old proverbial kamikaze craw or the fighting frog, try the swimming craw or the college craw. I think you'll be satisfied. Questions? Any more questions we got coming in today, Jordan?
Sure. Real quick, can you remind me what colors you have right here?
Oh, the colors I have right here, this is just this is a green pumpkin swimming craw. Okay. All right. And then I've got the tilapia bitsy craw, basically the small college craw on this bitsy jig. It's in the tilapia color. And then on the football jig, I've got a hematoma swimming craw, which is a color I really like. It's a really good color. Okay. And then we've got green pumpkin with blue flake. And we've got pearl, which obviously make a real good swimming trailer behind swim jigs and that type of thing. Mm-hmm. And then last I had the Texas rig was the hematoma in the college craw. So that's a real neat black and blue swirled up color with a little bit of red flake in it. It's a real popular color for us. Okay, so that's cool. Kind of the color gamut we use today.
All right, I have a question live here.
Okay, good, great. Bring it on.
Tristan Bramblett is wondering rigging suggestions for the warmouth.
Okay, Tristan, I wish I had a warmouth with me to show you, but to try to explain it to you, and this came straight from Dean Rojas, the man himself that developed the bait. He uses it primarily to fish beds with, and he knows that he rigs it just like you would a Texas rig. He'll go through the nose of it and bring his wide gap hook around, but instead of going straight down the middle of it, he offsets it. On the base of that warmouth, there's 3 little lines, and you can put it on either the left or the right line. Bring your hook in, and it just turns that hook just enough in that bait that when you get it in the bed, it makes it kind of turn up on its side and kind of quiver and makes it more enticing for the bass to eat. It kind of gives that representation of maybe a bluegill in there eating the eggs, and they just can't stand it. They have to gobble it and bite it. So that's kind of how we recommend it. And Jordan, if you'll remind me next week, I'll bring a warmouth with me and show everyone how to hook that the way that they recommend doing that so everybody can see. Because that's kind of hard to tell if you don't actually see it.
Okay, I got one more here.
Excuse me again.
This one is from Bryce. He's wondering if you could only use one big bite bait, which one would it be?
The fighting frog. I've only said that now about 15,000 times in the last 100 shows.
Still true.
That's by far my favorite bait, and it is holds true. Anytime I'm struggling, I'm going to a fighting frog to try to generate bites. It's just something about that bait that the fish really like, and they bite. And me and you've discussed this a bunch of times. A lot of guys would go to a trick stick or some smaller baits. My confidence go-to bait, and a lot of my friends' confidence go-to bait is the fighting frog. So something I would definitely recommend to you.
Okay, that's all I got for you right now.
Okay, well, super. We're looking forward to next week. We'll come in and try to do a different type of show next week for everybody. Prepare next week to do a bunch of question and answers. We've done that before, and I think next week we'll spend most of our time answering questions. We'll maybe do a short little presentation, but spend the rest of the time on the air talking about your questions and questions you have about big bite baits and anything we can help you with. Thank you very much, and we'll see y'all next week.